It's early morning in Saint Denis. It's just north of Paris. The cobbled street is empty, except for one thing: a slow ribbon of smoke rising from a chimney. For centuries, that was more than a sign of warmth. It meant that there was a baker inside, alive, tending to the fire, and it meant that bread was coming. The aroma of fresh bread, it's more than a scent, it's a signal. And behind it lies chemistry, tradition, and a lineage older than most flags. Bread is among the oldest prepared foods on earth. 14,000 years ago, the Natufians of northeastern Jordan, they baked flatbread on hot stones. By 2600 BC, Egyptians had advanced the method using fermentation, capturing wild yeast from the air and feeding it with flour and water. These early loaves, they rose, and they changed what bread could be. The Greeks, they built clay ovens. The Romans industrialized the process. By 168 BC, Cato the Elder had already cataloged more than 50 kinds of bread in the Roman world. And while most people can recognize the smell, few know what creates it. The secret is fermentation, crust formation, and a chemical chain reaction. As dough bakes, enzymes break down starch into sugar. Then, under heat, typically around 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 204 degrees Celsius, those sugars undergo Maillard reaction, combining with amino acids to create browning and aroma. That's when the air fills with maltol, vanillin, and 2-acetylpyrroline, and over 500 volatile compounds. These molecules trigger the olfactory receptors responsible for memory and appetite. Scientists at the University of Reading documented this in great detail, confirming that the scent of baked bread stimulates more regions in the brain than most other foods. And it's been doing it for centuries. In medieval Europe, the smell of fresh bread was the heartbeat of dawn. Families didn't bake at home, not because they didn't want to, but because they were not allowed to. There was fire risk, wood shortages, and guild law, and it meant that bread was a licensed commodity. Only men with authorization from local councils or monarchs could build or use ovens. These bakers, they formed guilds, formal associations with hierarchy, apprenticeship tracks, and strict oversight. In 13th century Paris, the Corporation de Boulanger regulated flour quality, enforced pricing, and trained boys as young as 12 to spend 7 years mastering the craft. Guilds protected their secrets and their tools. The rise of morning smoke meant the guild was functioning. The community was intact. In England, King Henry III, in 1266, required bakers to mark each loaf with a unique symbol. Loaves found to be light in weight, cheating the buyer, could result in fines or imprisonment. To avoid the risk, many bakers added a little extra to each batch, giving us the modern phrase, the baker's dozen. Across the Atlantic, early American colonies continued the model. In 1692, the city of Boston issued licenses to master bakers and built public ovens in town squares. Bread wasn't just food. It was a civic function. By 1834, the average American consumed 1.8 pounds, or 0.82 kilograms, of bread every day. Today, that number's fallen by more than half, but the scent remains. Do you know why? Because even now, in blind trials conducted in the United States, Japan, and Germany, over 89% of participants correctly identified the smell of fresh bread within seconds. It outranked coffee, chocolate, and even frying onions in emotional recall. And maybe that's because it's more than memory. It's lineage. The smell of fresh bread out of the oven is a human inheritance, a signal passed down through war, famine, migration, and peace. In every century, someone lit the fire, kneaded the dough, and watched for that first curl of steam. In villages and cities alike, before the rooster crowed or the bell rang, people knew what mattered. If the oven was hot, life continued. These are Interesting Things with JC.